Imagine waking up in a world that feels strangely familiar, filled with memories of a life you've never lived. For Dorothy Eady, this wasn't a dream. It was her reality. As a child, Dorothy's memories didn't belong to the present day. They were vivid glimpses into a life she once lived thousands of years ago, when she was an ancient Egyptian priestess. At just 3 years old, Dorothy began recalling events and rituals from a past life, a life in Egypt that was far more than just a fantasy. Her drawings, her words, even her emotions, all pointed to one incredible truth. She was somehow connected to the ancient civilization in ways that no child should know. This mysterious and captivating journey would lead Dorothy to Egypt, where she uncovered not only the truth about her past, but the extraordinary power of reincarnation. Her story challenges everything we thought we knew about life, death, and the soul's journey. Join us as we unravel the truth behind Dorothy Eady's incredible life. Could reincarnation be real? Is there a cosmic connection that binds us to our past lives? Don't miss out on this mind-bending story. Subscribe now to dive into the mystery. Dorothy Eady's story began in 1904 in London. From the very start, her life was marked by unusual events that would later capture the attention of scientists, historians, and spiritual seekers alike. She was born into an ordinary family in an ordinary neighborhood, but her connection to ancient Egypt would soon prove to be anything but ordinary. By the age of 3, Dorothy showed signs of an unusual attachment to ancient history, particularly Egypt. She would frequently draw symbols and pictures that no child her age would typically know. Pyramids, pharaohs, and hieroglyphics would emerge in her drawings. When she was 3 years old, an event that would forever change her life took place. She fell down a flight of stairs at her home. While the fall seemed like a routine childhood accident, it would later be seen as the catalyst for her strange awakening. After the accident, Dorothy exhibited profound shifts in her behavior. She began talking about being connected to a different time, a different place, and a different life, a life tied to ancient Egypt. What was most unusual about her story was her vivid and detailed recollection of a life as an ancient Egyptian priestess. At first, her parents thought these were just childhood fantasies, but they quickly became alarmed when the 3-year-old would repeat intricate rituals, mention specific Egyptian deities, and draw symbols no child could know without instruction. Her parents consulted doctors, psychologists, and spiritual leaders in hopes of finding an explanation. But no medical reason or logical explanation could account for her knowledge. Doctors considered this development a case of a child with an unusually advanced imagination. But Dorothy was undeterred, her memories proving vivid, persistent, and deeply rooted. Her mind didn't merely drift into idle musings or daydreams. She displayed a direct emotional connection to her memories and would often become emotional when discussing them. As she grew, Dorothy's childhood fascination with ancient Egypt grew alongside her. She immersed herself in ancient Egyptian texts and began to show exceptional interest in the stories of pharaohs, temples, and Egyptian gods. Her ability to recall obscure rituals and deities sparked intrigue among those who studied her story. By her teenage years, her connection to the ancient world became a full-blown obsession. At the age of 14, she began studying ancient hieroglyphics, learning about their meanings and their role in Egyptian culture. She would spend long hours reading books about ancient Egypt, ancient history, and philosophy. Her favorite texts were not just about the pharaohs or monuments, but about ancient Egyptian beliefs, their understanding of the afterlife, and their views on the soul's journey through time. Her parents, trying to make sense of this, searched for answers to explain Dorothy's behavior. Why did a child as young as she seemed to possess such intricate knowledge of ancient history? Why was she emotionally connected to this ancient civilization? Despite their doubts and confusion, Dorothy's parents could not deny her knowledge or the vividness of her memories. She would recount detailed memories of her life in ancient Egypt, even mentioning temples, locations, and religious customs. Dorothy described visiting sacred ceremonies, temple rituals, and royal gatherings in detail, events that a child would have no way of learning about without formal study or instruction. She could name gods, sacred symbols, and processes associated with rituals that were obscure even to Egyptologists at the time. This growing knowledge and repeated memories were too precise to dismiss. She began speaking of a past life as a priestess, one deeply intertwined with the gods and the sacred traditions of ancient Egypt. Dorothy believed these memories were not simply random images but a clear connection to a previous life. By the time she reached her teenage years, she was convinced of her own spiritual journey. She didn't view these memories as strange occurrences. Instead, she saw them as evidence of a past life and her soul's deep connection to Egypt. By her early 20s, Dorothy knew that her life journey would lead her to Egypt itself. Her studies and memories told her that the ancient land would provide the missing pieces to her spiritual puzzle. She set out on her first trip to Egypt with the hope of experiencing the ancient world in person, reconnecting with her memories and understanding her connection to the civilization. When Dorothy finally set foot in Egypt, the experience was nothing short of overwhelming. As soon as she arrived in Cairo and began exploring the ancient sites, she felt an almost instinctive familiarity with the land. Walking among the ruins of temples and pyramids, she could feel the ancient world come alive in her memories. It was as if time had collapsed, and she was reconnecting with places she had once known in a previous life. Her first journey took her to the pyramids of Giza, where she was met with a powerful sense of awe. She could not deny that she felt at home, even in this ancient, mysterious land. Exploring the Great Sphinx, the temples at Karnak, and the ancient hieroglyphics etched into the stones, Dorothy felt herself being transported to another time. The sights, sounds, and smells seemed familiar in a way that logic couldn't explain. Her memories began coming back to her more vividly as she walked among these ancient ruins. She spoke of ceremonies, royal processions, and temple rituals in great detail, details that amazed even Egyptologists. Some of these details weren't found in textbooks, yet Dorothy was able to recall them with stunning clarity. The trip confirmed to her that her connection to ancient Egypt was more than just curiosity or imagination. Her journey to Egypt would continue to solidify her memories and her spiritual connection to the ancient land. It was an unforgettable and transformative experience that became the foundation for her studies and her exploration of reincarnation. When Dorothy returned to England from her initial trips to Egypt, her story had attracted attention. Scholars, historians, and psychologists became intrigued by her vivid memories, unusual recollections, and their apparent accuracy. They wanted to explore her story, determine its origins, and assess its validity. Dorothy began meeting with experts in the field of Egyptology and psychology. During these meetings, she recounted her memories in detail. She would speak about her life as an ancient Egyptian priestess, about her service in ancient temples, and about the rituals associated with Egyptian gods like Isis and Osiris. Some of the information she shared matched obscure rituals or events that were confirmed by historical studies. Some historians believed Dorothy's memories were simply remarkable intuition or research-based guesses. Others, however, found her story troublingly accurate. Her descriptions of certain hieroglyphs, religious symbols, and sacred rituals appeared to have no rational explanation, even for experienced historians. They noted her deep spiritual connection, her ability to recall minor details, and her intuitive grasp of ancient Egyptian life. Her encounters with the experts further reinforced her belief that her memories were genuine. Despite skepticism and doubt, Dorothy stood firm in her conviction that her memories connected her to a previous life as a priestess in ancient Egypt. After sharing her story and memories with numerous scholars, scientists, and experts, Dorothy's case gained widespread attention. The scientific community, especially researchers in psychology and Egyptology, found themselves compelled to examine her claims. Could her story hold any credibility? Were these just the fantasies of an imaginative mind, or was there something deeper at play? The evidence began to accumulate as various experts began working with Dorothy. Using hypnotherapy, regression analysis, and other methods, they explored her memories further. These techniques were intended to uncover the depth of her recollections and validate her claims about having lived as a priestess in ancient Egypt. What researchers found was astonishing. When placed under hypnosis, Dorothy could recall even more specific details about her life. She described specific rituals, obscure temples, and the customs of ancient Egyptian priestesses in vivid detail. Her ability to recall obscure symbols, temple rooms, and ancient events amazed even the most seasoned Egyptologists. What's more shocking was that the details she described aligned with documented history. One of the most striking discoveries was that she spoke of a location, an ancient temple complex, that had been lost to time and only recently discovered by archaeologists. Her recollection of the temple's layout and rituals matched evidence later corroborated by ongoing excavations in Egypt. These revelations were critical. They provided researchers with a level of detail that wasn't easily accessible or common knowledge. The psychological analysis, combined with her hypnotic regressions and accounts, presented compelling evidence that Dorothy had a connection to something far beyond mere imagination. While many skeptics argued for alternate explanations, the data could not ignore her knowledge. This evidence would place Dorothy's story at the forefront of the debate on reincarnation, memory, and history. The scientific community struggled to find a rational explanation. Could past life memories exist? Was this proof that souls might travel through lifetimes? Her story began to influence not just academics but the public as well, leaving many wondering about their own connection to the mysteries of reincarnation. The journey into Egypt and her studies with scholars expanded Dorothy's spiritual understanding. Her experiences went beyond mere historical inquiry or psychology. She began connecting the dots between her memories, ancient Egyptian religious beliefs, and her own personal spiritual journey. Dorothy's understanding of ancient Egyptian deities, including Isis, Osiris, and others, informed her spiritual exploration. She connected her memories with the Egyptian belief in the afterlife, the journey of the soul, and the concept of divine rebirth. These ancient concepts, she discovered, reflected the idea that souls undergo transformations and rebirths across time. Her journey was not merely about intellectual discovery but about personal growth. She began to view her experiences and memories as part of a greater spiritual journey. She began to meditate on the nature of existence, consciousness, and destiny. Her memories, instead of being disconnected fragments of the past, became the framework for a deeper understanding of her soul's path. During this phase of her life, she discovered the role ancient Egypt had played in developing spiritual and esoteric concepts. Her exploration of rituals and teachings revealed the ancient Egyptians' view that the soul was eternal, evolving through cycles of life and death to achieve a higher spiritual understanding. Her spiritual awakening would become the foundation for much of her continued work and understanding. She no longer saw her story as merely about a previous life, but as part of a cosmic journey, a story that would continue to unfold as she delved further into these mysteries. As she shared her journey with the world, Dorothy became a symbol of exploration and mystery. Her story inspired others to explore questions of consciousness, spirituality, and history. She began lecturing on reincarnation and sharing her experiences, hoping to help others understand their connection to their own histories and spiritual journeys. Dorothy would work with historians and researchers to uncover even more about her memories. She became involved in numerous studies, helping to bring attention to unexplained phenomena and the mysteries of the afterlife. Her work became the cornerstone for many reincarnation theories, and her story remains studied and dissected to this very day. Dorothy's ability to connect her own memories to specific historical findings provided proof, whether skeptical or convincing, to those who believe in past lives. Her story sparked questions about memory, identity, and destiny, and inspired a new generation to delve into these mysteries. Her passing in 1981 did not mark the end of her journey. Her story continues to be studied, explored, and celebrated as one of the most compelling examples of reincarnation in modern times. Dorothy Eady's story is more than just a tale of memories and ancient mysteries. It's a journey that challenges our understanding of time, consciousness, and the possibility of reincarnation. Her incredible experiences, supported by historical evidence and scientific investigation, continue to inspire countless people to question the nature of the soul and its journey through time. Whether you view her story as proof of reincarnation, a fascinating psychological phenomenon, or an extraordinary connection to history, one thing is clear. Dorothy Eady's life was a testament to the mysteries of human existence and the timeless allure of ancient Egypt. Her journey invites us to explore our own spiritual paths, question our own memories, and open our minds to the unknown. The legacy she left behind remains a beacon for anyone fascinated by history, science, and spirituality. If you found Dorothy's story as fascinating as we did, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay updated on more stories that delve into the unknown. Let us know in the comments what you think about reincarnation and if you've ever had moments of déjà vu that made you wonder about your own soul's journey. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. Until next time, keep seeking the truth behind the mysteries of our world.